This is my magazine. It's called Pure Sound and it's aimed at the rock genre. The target audience age range for my magazine are for people from about 15 to 25 because I think this sort of young adult age group are people who are more likely to buy magazines from the shops. I also think that this age range are more likely to buy my magazine because the articles written in my magazine are of people of like similar age to 15 to 25-year-olds. The front cover of my magazine, I've made it quite colourful, using like bright colours and like really big bold text, so it stands out to my target audience and also so it stands out on the shelf of the shop. I chose the name Pure Sound for my magazine so it automatically lets you know that it's a music magazine. I made the name of my magazine, which is the masthead at the top, much bolder and bigger than all of the other text on the page. I did this so people could automatically recognise my magazine on the shelf and also to give it some sense of identity. I created my magazine using Photoshop CS4. I chose this program because it makes really sort of professional looking documents and I wanted mine to look very professional and like it was an actual magazine. I made sure that I included all of the key conventions in my magazine that real magazines have in theirs. These are ones such as a masthead, website, strapline, splash heads, a central image and also anchorage text. The anchorage text is sort of just to let the viewer know what the main article is about. I also included a barcode on my magazine just with a little date line and an issue number and also the price, just to sort of give the viewer a little bit more info about my magazine. All of the images that I've used in my magazine were taken by myself. I did this just so that the magazine would have more like a better consistency of style and just to make it more personal to me. I adjusted the images on Photoshop just to alter like the contrast and the brightness, just to make sure that the photos were really clear and that you could see them well on the page. I also added a lot of effects in my magazine, such as when I was writing text, I put a lot of glows around the edges just to sort of make it stand out more and make it look more professional. From my questionnaire feedback, I noticed that a lot of people are interested in free items that you got with magazines, so I decided to include a free item, which were posters. I included a few buzzwords on my front cover, such as like exclusive, just to sort of make the viewer attracted to the magazine and want to buy it and think that they're sort of getting something that like no one else is really getting. This is the contents page of my Pure Sound magazine. The band which I used as the central image for my front cover, I've included that on the contents page and I've made the image much bigger than everything else on the page just to sort of let the viewer know that that's the main article and that's sort of linking with the front cover of my magazine. I used a lot of graphic features on this page, such as boxes and circles with page numbers in them. This is just to sort of help the reader's eye just sort of move across the page and like pick out the important information that they need. The images that are included on this page are to help the reader understand what's inside the magazine without actually having to read a big block of text. I carried the title and the masthead of our magazine onto this page to give it more consistency and identity. I think that doing this worked really well because when you're looking at contents pages you don't usually know what magazine it could be from, but putting the masthead right at the top you know exactly where it's coming from. I've also included a website in a strapline at the bottom just to let people sort of visit the site and get more information about my magazine. This is the double page for my magazine. I include an interview with the band from the central image, from the front cover and also the larger image on the contents page. From researching other magazines of the same genre, I noticed that most of the double pages in their magazines had a very large image on one page and an interview on the other, so this is what I decided to do. I made sure that I included a heading on the first page, which is the band name, Party of Lies. This is just to sort of let the reader know what the double page is about. I made sure that the questions and the answers on the second page looked a little bit different, so you weren't like wondering what was the questions and what was the answers. So I made the questions in graphic features in like much bolder font, just so that the reader can skip through the interview and pick out the questions that they want to read. I included a couple of other pictures on the second page, just to sort of give the reader a better insight into what this band's sort of like. I also included small captions in also another graphic feature, just on top of each picture, just to let people know a little bit more about that person. I included a quote from the interview in the middle of the second page. I made it big and bold with speech marks around it so that people know that it is from that interview and it makes them want to read the interview. The first image that I've used on the first page, I wanted it to be quite funny and like humorous so that people knew that it was like a relaxed interview and it was quite fun to read. I've included another graphic feature at the bottom right of the page. This is just to give a little tiny bit more info about that band, like a few websites and when their debut album's coming out and things like that.
I think it's a fantastic piece of work from someone who has worked in the industry on things like this. I think it's close to the real things you'll get for certainly for A level. If that was on the shelf in a newsagent's, apart from the fact the guys in it look a bit young, that would grab my attention because they're a bit of a young looking band. But that to me looks like a real magazine cover, and the contents page the same, and the content. The way the interview is laid out is absolutely fantastic. It's really easy to read, and it uses conventions of indie magazines in the way that it's set out. I like the bit of quotage there as well, like a vox pop sort of thing going on. But everything about it is great. The way that it fills out all of the page. There's no big gaps anywhere. There's something to look at like pretty much every inch of the piece of work. I especially like the depth of field in the main image, and the quality of the main image is something that sets it out from a lot of the other things, and just the quality of all the other photos. She's clearly gone to great lengths and worked very hard on it, and I think it's a fantastic piece of work.
Thanks for watching my music magazine evaluation.